We have now Ole Søndergaard from the Danish Parliament, and he will present a generalized meeting app tested among Danish MPs. Thank you, Ole. The floor is yours.
Yes, good morning. And I will thank you to give me the opportunity to share some thoughts about decisions not yet taken in Danish Parliament. It's decisions about how we should relate to apps. The situation is that in Danish Parliament, everyone, MPs as well as staff, have got an iPhone, and all MPs have got an iPad. And we gave the iPad to the MPs really before we knew how to use it. But the MPs was very eager, and they got it. But now we have, of course, a plan to make a kind of strategy for doing apps, how to use them, should we develop them ourselves, and so on. So, to be more inspired, and that's 5 managers in the Danish Parliament, 2 of them is my colleagues, Liselotte and Søren, and 2 more, we will together try to describe a strategy for the top management. And to be inspired, we took 2 apps and gave it to a few MPs to see what happened. It's very complicated to get MPs to do anything and to have meetings and so on. But we tried anyway, and the strange thing is that we was able just to try, because the effort to make those tests was quite little. You know, it's very, when you make a website, it's when you are nearly finished, you test it. But here we can try the concept before we introduce it. So the 2 apps we tested was different kinds. First of all, a website app. That means just the old-fashioned website transformed into an app for iPads, and very narrow-oriented towards the MPs. We don't care the public, we don't care anything, we just say, here is an app for you. And one of Liselotte's employees did it in the evening. It was not, he just said, couldn't you just make a try, see what happens? And what result is, it was a shortcut app where you can go to the committee documents and you go to the calendar very easy. And I think I can show it in a moment. No, I will show it very shortly anyway. The other app is a generalized app. It's not a parliamentary app. It's a vendor's developed app for meetings. It was originally made for municipalities, but now we try to use it in the parliament too. It's very simple. It has agendas, it has documents, and some annotation. The first one, it is characterized by just have these very shortcut features, calendars, news, documents, and we have tried to interview the MPs who used it, and they say this website app is much better than the original website you have for us. It's much easier. We like it. And I have moved my work with the website. I have reduced it with 50 to 80% and moved it to the app. So that's a very good and interesting thing. The meeting app, where we try not just to make paperless meetings, we try to to change things so you can put annotations and share them with other MPs or staff. And I think that somebody says there that this way of sharing notes will change the process in the Parliament radically. That means that they have a thought that when they come to the documents to prepare themselves for a meeting, it is already commented. So it might be commented by colleagues or by staff who is very heavy and have a heavy knowledge about it. I just it's important that you understand that this meeting app, well, we have a complex database in Danish Parliament, but we move some of these data to the simple database at the vendor. And it is from there the communication between iPads and PCs as well can be done, and we are not involved in those annotation. It's a part of the vendor user communication. So here you just see that when you go to this meeting app, you just see the committees you are joined as an MP, and when you choose a committee, you will get some meeting dates, and if you choose a meeting dates, you will get an agenda, and then you were able to choose the documents inside it, connected to that meeting, to this agenda in a way. And here you can see that it is possible to do annotations, and it is possible to share annotation with other people in the group, in the Parliament group, or among the staff. And maybe the annotation will start from the staff and say, please MP, be aware of that. You should be prepared. So here is not a strategy, but only loose thoughts about an app strategy. We have to decide the coming month. We have, of course, only iPads and iPhones. It's Apple all over it. So we might decide that it is all right to have native apps for the internal use. And then we also might decide that for foreign use, for the public, we should use the HTML5 apps, because then we never know what kind of equipment. But if we decide that, I don't know if we do, but if we do, then we also decide that we are those who should tell the MPs what kind of equipment they have to use. And I like that thought. Then we should have separate apps for separate user groups, and that's not very strange, but it's quite common. That means that it might be necessary to take care of quite a number of apps. We shouldn't be too scared about that, because that's just the reality. And then we might be able also, when they call from the public, try to help them about using our apps. No problem, I hope. But anyway, one of the main functions in the IT Parliament should be that we should be prepared to feed a lot of external apps. To feed means that we somehow be a synchronized organization. We synchronize our data to some other databases who then use them in their apps context. I think it is like Outlook, where we can have an exchange, where we synchronize mails to all kinds of platforms. And I think it will be the same for the Parliament. And sometimes an MP or a group of MPs will come and say, well, it was a nice meeting app you choose, but we would like to try this also. And then we should be prepared to synchronize our data also to that kind of vendor. We shouldn't be too afraid. I know somebody will not like it very much, but I think it is a reality that we should be prepared. And the strange thing is that we do it much faster than than we did before with websites and so on. It's much easier to replicate data from one point to another. So it's not a question of bring your own device, it's a question of bring your own app. Then we shouldn't compete. I think that those vendors who make those complexes are they're very efficient and very good for that, and we should be we should be very careful not to compete too much about that. They are specialized in that matter. And then at last, some of the MPs said, now it seems like that the parliamentary documents, you are now able to give it to us and we can use it like paper with comments and so on. We would like that you do the same with our internal meetings in the party. So it might be possible, because of course we do not know any kind of their documents, but those systems, you can feed them manually. So it is possible that we have a meeting app, we feed with parliamentary documents automatically, and then we say to the parties, and you can feed them manually with your own documents, and then the MPs have an all-over meeting app. That was the loose thoughts of mine.
Thank you, Ole. Very provocative and very, the app is the future. That is true. It's not a device. And there is the problem of incompatibility in between the two half of the world. Samsung Android and iOS and app. Well, Apple, the Apple world, a closed world. So, are there any questions? Yes, first, Elizabeth, please.
Thank you. Elizabeth Hallam-Smith from the UK Parliament. That was a fascinating presentation. Could you tell us, please, what sort of money costs and what sort of people you have to develop these apps and the strategy for them?
If we divide the two apps, the first one, which was the web app, then it is Liselotte's employees, and as I told you, you maybe tell yourself, but he just did it in the evening. So it was not a heavy job in that way. Of course, if we organized it very well, I think it would be, we would have much for few money. The other the meeting apps, we haven't yet negotiated it, but I expect that we will have it rather cheap, because well, maybe also because they want to have a parliament for as a customer. Okay.
So please repeat your name, please.
Robin from the Knesset in Jerusalem. You talked about synchronizing the data, similar to Exchange or Outlook or something like that, and I wanted to know, what is the difference between synchronizing the data as you described versus OData, open data in XML version, where somebody or anybody can go and take that data and make an app out of it?
I think you're right that we might as well, and I'm sure that there's a lot of will prefer that, make systems and where they can get the data from us automatically. What I say is that if they need some special kind of synchronization where you push it, I just say, it's not the Danish Parliament who say, but I say we should be a little more prepared to give that service if it is necessary. But you are right, if we can do it through web services and all kind of automatically. But this meeting app I demonstrated, right now it works like we constant in all day and all night move documents all the time over. But of course, you can do it some other way.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing. This is, I guess, more a suggestion. There was an idea that came up at the Knesset. Once we have open data, the general director of the Knesset was interested in having a competition and going out to the public, I guess through the press, and saying, all of you kids out there who know, all of you computer geek kids out there who know all of the stuff that we don't know how to do, and everybody, at their own home can make an app for the Knesset, and there will be a competition, and whoever wins, I don't know, will win an iPad, I mean, whatever it is. But the point is that he was thinking about opening this up to the public and seeing what will come in from that. Just a suggestion.
I think that maybe we will say, we haven't decided, that we will have apps for internal use for MPs, and we'll have apps for external use for the user. And then we might do what you say, I think that the head of communications, and he would be interested in that, because then maybe he could involve some youth or something else in that, yes.
Thank you. Bruno, please.
Yes, yeah. Bruno from the Belgian Federal Parliament again. I have a question also about a strategy. If I understood it right, on top or besides your existing applications and projects, you have now the app project. But what about to maintain those two? Because when you have changes on your existing applications and projects, you have to have your synchronization also a bit maintained. Isn't it a bit difficult to get the two systems, your existing applications and your apps, who were, I think, will be very successful, to maintain them? Do you have some idea to have a strategy to maintain this in a proper way?
I think when we talk about it, my colleagues and I, it's the same discussion. I personally think that this synchronizing thing is much easier to maintain than websites changing and so on. So I think, but maybe we'll find out it's not true, that if you do not have to do the app, you just have to concentrate on transporting data, and you are and that's what I would say, the Danish Parliament have a very good order in their data. And then I'm not afraid that we will hit the right thing. But we will see. Okay.
Thank you, Ole. Are there any other questions? Yes, please, Sandra.
Okay. And who will be the decision for the external and internal use of APP? Your department or general secretary? Who's the last word?
We are 5 heads of offices who have been asked to do that, and I think that it will be given to first of all the head of the administration, the top, and then of course it will be, I suppose, given to the presidium, what we call it in Denmark, the top political management. So I think it is, they are very interested. Our chairman asked, do you think something happened now? He asked for it.
Yes, Ole, thank you very much. Another question. Yes, Mark, please.
From European Parliament. Just for clarification, I missed the slide. Your apps will only, you will support any device or only iPad?
What I thought was that for the external use, the people, the public, we will have HTML5. I think that will be the easiest decision. But for the internal use, as long as we decide the equipment, and we will do that as long as I'm there, I don't know, then we are able to also use native apps. And that's a good part of it. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, Marlind, please.
Marlene Muftiu from the Albanian Parliament. Just a question regarding the members that you choose to test the applications. You choose them randomly, or those members were IT friendly, or? And the second question regarding the iPads. You mentioned that the Danish Parliament is providing iPads to all the members. Does your department department is responsible to maintain these iPads, or you are just providing them and the members are responsible by themselves to maintain or to upgrade or whatever? Thank you.
Okay. Take the last question first. We are responsible for all things also after giving it. We have a big service center where the MPs arrive. It's very close to the chamber, and they just can, if they have any kind of problems, they just go around and have a cup of coffee and discuss how to use it and how do I get my paper and all kind of stuff, and they like it. But you are really right when you ask if it is a random, because it is MPs who has joined a group of interest in that kind of stuff. So we will, of course, have challenges with those who do not have the same kind of interest. But indeed, it connects to the last question, because I think, anyway, that we have very good connection between MPs and the service center, and they just get around if they can't find out and ask the supporters, please tell me once more, I'm a little stupid. So I hope it will be so anyway. Okay.
Thank you, Ole. Any other questions? No, but a very interesting presentation. Congratulations.